Good morning. Welcome to Miss B's art classroom. I'm so excited. Today we are going to learn about tessellations, which were made famous by actually I can show you a couple examples of tessellations, which were made famous by the artist MC Escher. So these are all tessellated shapes that I have made. And I'm going to show you guys how to do kind of a fun, interesting art project today. All right. Let's start by talking about the materials that you'll need. You will need a square of ideally a thicker quality paper. This is tagboard. I know a lot of people don't have tagboard lying around, so a lot of you though eat cereal or crackers or granola bars like I do, and so you can use the boxes from these to get the same thicker quality paper. This is basically like what tagboard is. So what you need is you want it to be 4 inches by 4 inches. So that's how big you want your square to be. On that note, you'll want a ruler if you have one. You don't have to have it, but that'll help you get your 4 inch by 4 inch square. So I just confirmed, yes, this is 4 inches. You will want a pencil. You will need scissors. You will need tape. You will also need bigger paper and markers, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's start with just how to make your tessellation tile, which is essentially what these are. All right. Step 1, so let me move a few of these things out of the way. So I don't need that anymore. Don't need my tape quite yet. Oh, I'm gonna use a marker instead of a pencil. You do not need the marker. You should use a pencil because then you can erase it if you make a mistake. I am only using a marker so that you can see it better for this video. All right, so set my pencil out of the way. And for right now, I don't need my ruler. I just need to draw. The important thing when you're making a tessellation tile is that you're gonna draw on 2 sides of your square, and the sides of your square the designs must touch. So for instance, I can either draw a design on this side and then this side, or this side and this side. Here's what you can't do. You can't do a decoration or a design on 2 sides that face opposite each other. So this side and this side, or this side and this side. That won't work. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Also, I like to make little marks on my card, on my square, so that I know that I need to keep my drawing design inside of these 2 lines. I'm going to do it here too. This helps so that your tessellation square, your tessellation design doesn't break when you go to cut it and tape it. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. I also like to usually keep my designs pretty simple. Again, let me show you some of the designs that I've done in the past. So in the past, this was just 3 triangles, 1, 2, 3. And then on this side, which I'll rotate, this was just a diagonal, half circle, and a straight line down. And I think that was a pretty successful tessellation. This one was a little more complicated, so this was basically a wavy line. Rotate it, and then triangles with a wavy line. A little bit more complicated, but still a successful tessellation. And this one was 2 wavy lines or shapes kind of meeting each other that almost then looks like a beak of a bird or something. And then these were just a bunch of triangles. Triangles are definitely, for me, my favorite shape. So what am I going to do? I'm going to keep my shapes pretty simple. I'm going to do 1 wavy and 1 more sharp. So I love my triangles. So I gotta stick with the triangles. I just love them. And I like to vary my size, so I've got a bigger one, skinnier one, and a bigger one. Okay, 4 triangles. I'm going to rotate it, and remember, I need to draw a design on this side or this side. I cannot draw on the side that is directly across. And I've already put my 2 little line markers, so I'm going to rotate it and I'm gonna draw my next design here. Now this is something else you need to be aware of. These triangles, these two at the bottom, are kind of crowding my space. So I have quite a bit of space up here, but I really don't have too much space down here. I don't want this other second shape design to touch this one. My tessellation won't work if I do that. So I'm going to do a diagonal line so that this shape doesn't touch this shape. And then I'm going to do, ooh, I haven't done this before, another diagonal line. And you know what? This is no particular shape. There's no name for it, but I like the sharp angles. And then I also like the shape that I'm leaving once I cut, which is what I'm going to show you next. So I have drawn my two shapes, shape 1, shape 2. Now I'm going to cut. And this is important. So this is where you need your scissors now. You don't need your drawing tool any longer, your marker, your pencil. You need scissors, and then after that, you're gonna need your tape. All right, let's do these scissors first. So I'm cutting, and this is important. I need to cut this entire 4 triangles. I need to keep it as one shape. So I'm going to rotate it. This is something students in the past have found. If you make your shape too complicated, too detailed, with really tiny little squiggles or swirls, when you go to cut it out, it's very difficult. So I would recommend that these simple shapes work better for this particular tessellation project. I'm gonna set this piece over here. I no longer need my scissors, set those out of the way. Let me show you what I'm left with. So now what I'm left with is this is one of the trickier parts, but if you pay attention, you will get it. So I even made some arrows. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna take that first shape, and I want you to slide it, and then you're gonna tape it. So it's important that your shape, that first shape that you cut, in fact, here, let me put this out of the way. You cut it out, you slide it directly across, and then you are taping it. Move my arrow out of the way. And I think it's a good idea to tape the back too. Otherwise, do you see how it's kind of weak? If you tape the back side too, it will be stronger. There we go. Okay. You now officially have your tessellation tile, and you can decide which way you want to orient it. I'm going to show you the next step. Now we're ready to turn our tessellation tile into a tessellation piece of art. And basically, again, to tessellate is to essentially make a repeated pattern. You're essentially making a visual drawing of a puzzle, and you're fitting all the pieces together. Here's the new materials that you will need for the second and final step of this tessellation art activity. You need your tessellation tile that you just made in the previous part of this video. You need, I like to do square shapes. I think it works better for a tessellation. So this is a 12-inch by 12-inch square piece of paper. I have my marker. You would use your pencil. I'm just using the marker so that you can see it better. And then the final piece is you would use markers for the color decoration part at the very end. Okay, so step one is you are deciding how you want to orient your tessellation piece. And I always have students start in the center. I'm kind of looking at my tile a little bit to see if I think it looks like something. And you know what? To me, this looks a little bit like a seabird. Maybe not quite a pelican because the beak isn't quite right, but some kind of a bird. Actually, I'm gonna go for a pelican. And I'm gonna pretend that that's the top part, that's the bottom part, that's the wing. So I kind of like the pelican at a slight diagonal like that. Okay, so I'm gonna start tracing. And ta-da, you have traced one piece. So now, once you've traced your first shape, your first tessellation, you are going to now fill your whole sheet, literally like you're drawing one big puzzle, and you can decide which one you want to draw next. But here's how you do it. You slide, so I can slide my little pelican shape straight up. In fact, that's what I'm gonna do next, is I'm gonna trace this. It will go off the paper, it should go off the paper, so that's expected. When I'm done, I could slide this direction, and basically, it will tell you where you need to trace next because you're just fitting all the pieces together. So this is where the markers come in, and I'm going to just sort of start, I think, with the yellow for the beak. And maybe I'll do some blue and green and I'm just gonna go crazy. I'm gonna use a lot of colors. Okay. Okay, so the final step for the tessellation project is once you've decided how you want to decorate one of your tiles, you should repeat it again and again and again. I have decided to go more realistic and making it look like a bird. The final thing I wanted to show you was just some other student examples from work that students have done over the years. All of them very successful. I hope you enjoy this project.